just to quickly go through the IONS Channeling Research Program, when I came here, of course, IONS has done previous work on channeling, and many other researchers have done this around the world. But I wanted to focus on a number of questions, important questions about channeling. For example, how common is it? So we have found that despite the perception of channeling being rare, it is in fact incredibly common, with prevalence ranging from 10% to as high as 97% in a study that we did in the United States. In terms of what we already know and what are its characteristics, we know that the field is filled with a diverse array of terminologies and definitions within the channeling field, that in general, people who channel do not have significant pathological indicators in mental health, that belief in channeling and channeling experiences are highly correlated. In fact, belief, along with meditation, is one of the strongest predictors of having spontaneous channeling experiences or doing well on laboratory tasks. And in general, more women than men have experiences in available studies. As mentioned in the introduction, indeed, channeling experiences are quite diverse. Through an iterative process and multiple studies, we developed the validated noetic signature inventory and confirmed a 12 characteristic model that reflects the diversity of these experiences. And you too can take this inventory at nsi.noetic.org. It's available for anybody. And it's also freely available to researchers who want to include it in their studies. In terms of if channeling is real, we've done a number of mediumship studies that Arna will share about more shortly. And we also just completed a study looking at telepathy versus precognition and found that only the telepathic trials of telephone telepathy had exceeded chance in terms of their accuracy. The next question is, how does channeling work? Well, the short answer is we're not quite sure, but it likely depends on the type of channeling and the person doing the channeling. However, some have suggested that the fundamental nature of reality is informational, and this is being supported by multiple studies we have conducted with quantum noise generators during things like energy healing sessions and trance channeling. In terms of what makes a channel, we've identified that the most influential demographic predictors is gender, like I mentioned, female. We've also seen that family history is a predictor as well. Being spiritual but not religious and having had a noetic experience at a young age has also risen as a significant predictor. Of course, there's quite a bit of variation around this. And personality, things such as extroversion and openness, has had both positive and negative findings. So we're not quite exactly sure about personality. And then finally, the last question of the research program is the content useful? So we just published a paper in the Journal of Scientific Exploration where we asked 15 pre-vetted channelers to access the same non-physical being or spirit source and ask them a structured set of 10 questions that were created from scientists. And when we looked at that quantitatively, there was very little correspondence across the channelers. But when we looked at it qualitatively, meaning look at the content, the text, we found coherent and common themes in the channeled responses for many of the questions. And so we're still learning about the usefulness of this. So this is a very, very brief overview of our channeling research. We have more information about this on our website. We also have a number of ongoing studies continuing this, such as ethical standards in mediumship and channeling, doing a review on mediumship certification. We are very grateful to the Marco Morelli Foundation for a physical mediumship effort. You can check out that at marcoproject.org. We're continuing our noetic signature research, looking at norms and characteristics. We're also looking at physiological relationships between things like genetics, neuroimaging, etc., and how psychic abilities express themselves. And we have a multi-site international Gansfeld precognition protocol that is, IONS is one of the sites for that we're getting ready to launch. So a little taste of the IONS channeling research program, and I will now pass it over to Dean.